Yeah, today I just want to speak on God's goodness and mercy as it is reflected in a personal revelation. We see this throughout the Bible as well. And God being the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, He still does the same for us. I have several revelations. I'll share some of them with you a little bit later as the teaching permits. But I just want to talk about how to steward the revelation. So, for one, even in the Bible, when God gave a personal revelation, people didn't always receive it, which is the key to the revelation. So we see this with Abraham and Sarah. When God told them they would, told Abraham he would have a child, we know that the Bible records that Sarah laughed, and I just so happen to have it in my Bible in Genesis 18:14. God says, "Is there anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto you according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son." Then Sarah denied, saying, "I laughed not," for she was afraid. And God said, "No, but you did laugh." And so that just goes to say that Sarah laughed because she did not receive or could not receive the revelation that she would have a child in her old age. And so again, we see that several times. Even Moses couldn't readily receive the revelation that he was going to lead the people out of Egypt and ask for signs and wonders to accompany the revelation, to help his heart and just give him strength and courage to do it. And we know that God complied and even gave him Aaron to go with him. And so where I'm going is this, that sometimes we don't believe the revelation, and we need to do like Mary did. When we can't receive it or believe it, we need to just hide things in our heart and go to God in prayer and help him to ask him, to help us receive it and to believe it and to walk by faith, if you will. And another note of personal revelation is that everybody can't receive the revelation that God gave you. So we are to be careful who we share our God-given revelations with, because everybody doesn't have your best intentions. Even God-believing folks may still try to sway you or give you doubt or discouragement about what God told you, because they cannot receive the revelation God gave you. And we see this in the Bible when Joseph pridefully and proudly told his brothers that he would rule over and reign over them. We know that they could not receive it, and so much so that they even tried, their plan was to kill him so that his revelation would come to nothing. And then the Bible records that they said, "Let us kill him and see what becomes of his dream." And so because they could not receive the revelation given to him of being ruler, they tried to extinguish him from the earth. Now we know they sold him into slavery, and the revelation God gave Joseph came to pass, and he did rule and reign over them. And also we see something similar to this with Saul and King David. When Saul knew that David would be king, he could not receive the revelation and went about trying to kill him. All the while David did what kings do and walked in humility towards the Lord. And we see other examples of, again, just because God gave you a revelation don't mean that other people will receive it or be happy for you. I just think of the conversion of Saul into Paul. When he began to minister, the disciples were still afraid of him, because they could not receive that he was a changed man. And we know that only Barnabas came alongside him because he was able to receive the revelation that Paul received, that Jesus Christ, and that he was called to minister and teach the word of God. And so, that being said, I just want to encourage you to be careful who you share the revelation with, and also to be mindful and just aware that you ask God to help you receive the revelation that He also desires to give you, and who He would have you share with any. And just to share a bit of my testimony, during my 24 years in prison, on Easter Sunday of 2015, I received the revelation that I was going to be released after 20 years in prison. And so I remember in my excitement, in my joy, in my worship of God, I shared that with other men that were incarcerated with me. And I remember being the laughing stock about how crazy I was, and I'm tripping because in Wisconsin, Scott Walker was the governor, and he made it plainly obvious that he wasn't releasing anybody under no circumstances, pretty much. The parole rate was like 3%, if that. And so I remember I still had to just stay strong, because I did find myself discouraged and wondering if I heard from God, and I had doubt. But I had to just keep believing. Like I said, faith to faith. And so I just kept praying, and God kept giving me confirmation that I would go home. Granted, and brought it to pass in 2021. And so, like I said, God is real, and He wants to speak to you through revelation. I pray that you have an open heart to receive it, and that you just be mindful who you share it with, and that's all I have to say. Be motivated.